But Mr. Steed, everybody thought it was such a bad place.
Who?
All the people who tore it down.
The people that tore it down. That's the people that tore it down, the city of Halifax, the authorities of the city of Halifax.
They said it was a bad place.
That's what they called it. But it was not to us, it was a heaven, a home, a real home.
You can't put a price on the lives that they ruined. No reparations, no nothing. Why would you do this? Divide my people to find out.
Do racial stereotypes still exist within Canada?
Yes.
Do you think racial stereotypes still exist in Canada?
Yes, absolutely. I can tell you a quick story.
Okay.
Yeah. When I was going to university, I was going to U of T, which has a lot of Asian students. And so I was walking down the street and there was all these frat houses, and there was a guy who was handing out flyers for their frat parties for their next party. And I noticed that when I was walking to them that they weren't giving any flyers to any of the Chinese kids. So I was, but he was handing them out to all the white people, right? Because I guess he thinks as a racial stereotype that Chinese students are not fun. So I walked by and I was like, oh, wait a minute, maybe this guy will give one to me. But he didn't, and then I just kept walking across. So, you know, that's one little example of racial stereotypes, but it happens in Canada, it happens every day.
Do you think stereotypes still exist in Canada?
Yes, I do. I actually do. I think that men are supposed to, there's a persona on how men are supposed to look and how women are supposed to look, and if you don't look like that, then you're not going to find like that for somebody for you.
Stereotypes still exist within Canada?
Yes.
Do you think racial stereotypes still exist in Canada?
Yes, I do.
And why?
Well, I think we still hear about them. We still see them on TV. They're still fairly obvious in our society.
Stereotypes still exist in Canada?
Yeah, kind of.
Explain.
Well, you see like every day, you see like some people basically using stereotypes to like make fun of someone, like saying like, oh, Asians can't drive or something like that. Or like, yeah.
Do you think racial stereotypes still exist in Canada?
100%. Sure, they still do exist.
Why?
Because there's a lot of people still coming in, there's a lot of, ignorant people in Canada.
Like it kind of exists, but it kind of doesn't. Like not all of Toronto.
Yes,
maybe,
I
like,
think it does. I mean, I know it does because if I look at a person, I can be like, she's Asian, blah blah blah, like that, Some people just stereotype in their hearts. Some people just let it out,
What they've done to me. It's a part of our history they kept in the closet. Professors never taught the lessons, they neglected, forgot it. They kept it underneath the table, kept it under the surface. Nervous that we were re-emergent. They dispersed us and jerked us out in Africville. Halifax is ill. How can us blacks rebuild when the facts reveal the government left them comatose?
And where do you see or hear them?
On TV, so through the media. I think that's definitely one. I think it's still also you do hear about them in schools and just generally hear people talk. Yeah.
Where do you see them?
Well, I see them in Chinatown.
How?
Some people assume that only Asian people shop there or take a stroll around, and not a single other race would go there.
Where do you see or hear stereotypes?
I see it in the media all the time, like rap music and
where do you hear it?
Where do you hear it? You hear it everywhere. You hear it in the classroom, you see it on television, you see it when you're out in the mall. People make assumptions about other people just because of their race, perhaps even their religion, because of what they're wearing. People are constantly judging other people.
Where do you hear it? Racial stereotypes.
Well, usually, most of the time, sometimes you hear like on TV or something. Maybe like that's like a cause or something, but you also hear some people here.
Where do you hear it?
Internet news, you know, my friends.
Souls are frozen, many homes are broken, drugs started creeping in, crime started seeping in, the heaven got crushed when the demons started sneaking in, a black community lost and trampled.
Maybe.
Why do you think people are racist?
That's a tough one. I think there's some people hear it growing up, so that's one way. If they hear the message in the media, that's another. I think that socially it can be promoted. So if people hear their friends talking about a certain group a certain way, or if they see stereotypes on TV, that
I think people are like
forces it.
Some people are doing it just for the heck of it, for like bullying and stuff. Other people just do it for, like, they just see somebody else doing it and they just think that they should do it too.
Well, why do you think people are still racist?
I think people are still racist because they don't have a good understanding of other people's cultures and how they live. And perhaps they've learned to be racist, or they think it's cool to be racist because they hear their friends making racist comments, and that just it seems to catch on. So racism definitely still exists.
Why do you think people are racist?
Because they're insecure of themselves, and they're just ignorant.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. That's how you.
Is there any harm in racial stereotype?
Yes. So I felt like crap when I didn't get a flyer to go to their party. Even though that's one little thing, like I wouldn't have gone anyway. But yeah, it always hurts, right? When you're making a judgment about somebody and you don't even know them, and you're just judging them based on how they look or what they're wearing. Yeah, of course it hurts people. Absolutely.
Is there any harm?
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. I think when there's a preconceived notion or bias and people are making judgments, I think there's definitely harm in doing that, jumping to conclusions.
How does it affect the people who are being racial stereotyped?
Well, I think it alienates people in a way, right? To feel like there's an us versus them mentality, and grouping people by stereotypes that aren't necessarily accurate or aren't accurate is harmful. Is not a way to promote. What's the word I'm looking for? Social cohesion.
How does it affect the people, or how does it harm?
They might, get beat up walking down the streets. They're depressed, Yeah.
Is there any harm in racial stereotypes?
Yeah, some people can go as far as killing themselves.
It's dismantled when it's still hard to handle. You can't put a price on the lives that they ruined. No reparations, no nothing. Why would you do this? Divide my people to fight out on the corners at night. Oh, every fear. Look what they've done to me.
So what can we do to help stop it or try to stop it?
I think what you're doing right now is great. You're talking about it. So I think getting that message out, having people talk about why do we have these stereotypes, why are they harmful, why should we break them down is really useful.
Thank you.
As I reminisce about the settlement. If you black from Halifax, I'm speaking about your relatives. History don't like to tell of it, discreet about its relevance. Cause a black community was a disease to their development. Therefore they had to change that. Bulldoze in the community that lay beside the train tracks. Forced to make tax payments despite the lack of running water, sewage, flat pavement, and lights. Our forefathers bought themselves from enslavement with rights to land ownership. I'm asking people, how do you condone this shit? See what happened in Africville, it happens still. They choose land over man to expand, extract, and kill. You can't put a price on the lives that they ruined. No reparations, no nothing. Why would you do this? Divide my people to fight out on the corners at night. Oh, every fear. Yeah. Look what they've done to me.
How can you compensate a lost culture? It's especially when it's mashed up in a system of colonial vultures. Africville, they made a real life theatrical poster. They moved blacks off the basin using garbage trucks as chauffeurs. It's pretty clever how they whisk through the night, destroying black history with no regard for human life. Into the crack-infested ghetto city lights, hundreds of black children hating each other, ready to fight. There's no amount of reparations, compensations, rehabilitation, 3-day celebrations never change the situation. Even though it's been ruled by the United Nations, that the African relocation was a civil rights violation. You can't put a price on the